those stickers are the same houses that are issued right now. Right there on
Call
Borden.
meeting to order.
Yeah.
Officer Shaw, would you lead us in prayer, please?
Lord, we thank you for tonight. We thank you for the opportunity to gather. And we thank you for this past weekend where we had the chance to celebrate our freedom. Lord, the freedom that we enjoy here as we make decisions for our community, what's best for our town. Lord, we pray that you'll guide us, give us wisdom, and help us to bless you in the process. Lord, we thank you, we love you, and we pray. Amen.
Brad, can you lead us in the pledge, please?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. First thing on the agenda is approval of the meeting minutes.
I'll make a motion that we approve the minutes for last month.
I second that.
All in favor say aye. Aye. None opposed. Motion carries unanimously. Okay. Next thing is approval of claims. Ms. Faith?
Well, you have the claim sheet in front of you. We have a total of $182,208.11, but of that, $143,000 of it was PAF, and then another $8,400 was JTL. So it was really only like $30,000, not quite $31,000 total for claims for the month.
Okay, I'll make a motion we pay our bill.
I second that.
All in favor say aye. Aye. None opposed. Motion carries unanimously. We have no scheduled visitors, so we'll go next to the sewer project update. Pierce Fries from JTL, to give us that update.
So, for the sewer project, they completed the bore. They should be either finished or nearly finished installing all underground infrastructure. For the council tonight, I have a few change orders and a contract amendment to present. The first change order number 1, is to cover the cost to repair the force main that was hit very early on in the project. It was not marked for the contractor, and that is the stance that they have taken on it. I'm not sure if it was marked according to plans, if it would have helped much, because where it was at was not where it was shown on the plans. So this is sort of just a factor of kind of old infrastructure with bad records. There's no tracer wire to locate it. It would have just been marked based on the plans. So I do think we should pay them for those costs.
Have we noted that correction in the plans for future reference?
That can be done, yes. Yes.
The assumption is we're gonna get a full set of as-built when we complete the project.
Correct, and we will show where they rerouted that line to avoid that structure.
And I think Lawson helped with that.
Yes. That is what basically this is going toward, is Lawson's invoice.
Let's get these approved individually.
And the reason why I separated them was just in case the extension didn't want to go through or whatever.
Well, we'll approve them individually, so if there's any changes, it doesn't change the whole approval.
Okay.
Motion.
I'll make a motion we approve the first change order for the $9,032.90.
I second it.
All in favor say aye.
Aye.
None opposed, motion carried unanimously. Number 2.
So number 2 is a change order to extend the project to use the remainder of the ARPA funds minus the $71,000 we are holding until we get the NDOT conflict settled. We believe that PAF has definitely improved since the start, and I think it is a good price that they gave us, and I think changing it up adds some risk that you're gonna have to pay more. So it is JTL's recommendation that we move forward with extending the project with PAF.
I'll make a motion that we pay the additional $409,116.
Sorry, it's the 244,634.
Oh, I'm sorry, that was the total of the other 10.
244 to 634.
I second it.
All in favor say aye. Aye. None opposed, motion carries unanimously.
And then, so, just go ahead and touch on it.
Now you get paid.
That also extends the contract time as well, to complete that work. The third item I have for the sewer project is an amendment to JTL's contract for construction, administration, and inspection, for a total of $82,750. What this does is this catches us up on the extension of work from the original contract, and then we'll cover inspection until they complete the work from change order two.
Any other discussion? Okay.
I make the motion, we accept their bid for the amendment.
I second it.
All in favor say aye. Aye. None opposed, motion carries. JTL. The issue with the old state bank, we're gonna cover that in a minute, right, Brenda? Okay. All right, next thing is sewer adjustments, Ms. Faye.
So I have 4 of them, 3 of which are pool fills. As stated, they get to do 1 pool fill per year. So, the 3 listed there are pool fills, and then Patrick Martin, he had his, yard resodded, so he's been watering that, so that's where his adjustment comes into play. It wasn't a pool fill.
How was he able to calculate how much you used to?
So what I do is I take the last 3 months of
Oh,
their
okay, use
average
average.
usage,
Okay,
yeah,
gotcha.
so,
Because the reason I asked, because at the water company, we require them to use a separate meter sometimes.
yeah, I know that they do that on the pool fill,
Okay.
stuff. But basically what I do is I just go through their last 3 months worth of
Okay.
usage and go that route.
So it's within the bounds of
It is.
reimbursement, okay. Take a motion.
I make a motion, we accept these sewer adjustments.
I second it.
All in favor say aye.
Aye.
None opposed, motion carries. Mr. Brian Everidge, Park Board.
Sir, Park Board met on June 23rd with the following keynotes. Becky Smith came in and spoke to us at that meeting as well. I know she's hit all the groups lately, but regarding the safety of foul balls being hit in the high school girls field, and we agreed to get bids and help resolve that issue. We spoke briefly about the Ready 1.0 projects, about paving the gravel road and adding restrooms under the rear of the amphitheater and stuff. I don't know the results of the meeting that took place the next night that Brenna had with them, so, but we did get quotes on that, so, or we have a quote on that, I guess, right?
Yeah, 1 estimate, yeah.
And some possibility of other things like, it was preparing water and sewer for restrooms at a proposed site, or running electric to the highway for the sign, things like that. The music panels are scheduled for delivery tomorrow, and we spoke about investigating the repair work on the creek bank down there for the erosion behind the amphitheater on Muddy Fork Creek Bank. And
Do you know if Billy Kirkisher's been engaged for that?
I do not. I don't know if anyone has actually looked at it yet.
I talked to Micah today,
Okay.
came by the office, and I told him that we were wanting to go down there and check that out, and I told him I'd meet him down there one day and show it to me.
And the other one too, I reckon. Up in the subdivision.
Oh, Chris is taking care of that. Chris and Micah told me that Chris has already engaged them on that.
Fantastic.
And
Sorry.
the Friends of the Park last night, the concert in the creek, by the creek series will continue. Next one is the 18th with Weekend at Bernie's as the band, along with Fish Fry. We're in the process of upgrading the sound system at the amphitheater. And like I said, the sensory walk music panel should be delivered tomorrow, and we're developing a plan for getting those installed, depending on locates and equipment ready to use for that. Again, Becky Smith spoke at that meeting as well about the softball field. We plan to hold an event at the park in conjunction with the back-to-school orientation event that's taking place August 1st. We have a couple people planning that event, possible chalk on the path or parking lot along with a bubble truck or foam truck, one of the two, for the kids to come down that night. Friends approved the purchase of gates and posts for the entrances along Haywood Drive there to keep cars from driving off into the park from Haywood. And we will continue to assess the needs of the park and coordinate the work of the park board's plan along with the town's strategic plan and the initiatives of the Friends to make sure we're all on the same page, and so we're all trying to achieve a collective goals here. So our next board meeting will be the 28th of this month, and the Friends are scheduled to meet up August 4th. That's all I got.
Thank you, Brian. Cemetery.
Kathy's been in a couple times because of people being buried, and then I know she sold some plots last week. So she's still engaged with that and working on that.
Updates from our police department.
I'll start with the reserve division. Dodge is, since he's been released from FTO, he's putting in regular hours, doing a good job. He's been an asset for us at the moment. Personnel, Nash Sullivan, who was previously with us, went to Salem for full-time employment. Got to the interview process, but did not make the cut, so he's gonna come back with us. He's started his FTO, he's worked 2 nights with Officer Shaw, has started with him, so we're assessing where he's at to go further with him. Equipment needs, we had a quote for tires, $985.35. For the Taurus, front tires were 2 30-seconds and 4 30-seconds, so, and rear 7 30-seconds. Ask for approval of that. Go on. Okay.
I'll make a motion that we purchase the tires for the police department for $985.30-something.
Seconded.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries. Buy some tires.
Some good news for us. Brenna worked really hard, and we've had our grant turned in for a new cop. It's called the Cops Hiring Grant. We should have an answer in September of whether we're gonna get a new full-time officer. I feel really good about our chances. We fit the criteria of what they're looking for in 3 of those, nuisance abatement and quality of life, AKA the Monon Trail, rural designation, and unfunded in the previous year, unfunded officer. So, like I said, we're in the first stage, and we should find out in September, but exciting. I'm feeling confident about it. As far as our monthly activity reports, we had 76 calls for service, 25 traffic stops. Those 25 traffic stops, there was 3 citations written. We did 1 accident with an injury, 5 civilian assists. There was 11 violations for ordinances. 8 of those 11 were cited. 1 intimidation report, 24 business checks, some special detail. I put it all under saying that could be an escort, that could be a funeral, just helping out. We had 3 of those. Some good things. I think our traffic proactivity has helped a little bit. The previous month, we had 2 reckless driving complaints. We had 0 this month. We had 2 thefts last month, and we had 0. No domestics this month, so that's down. Suspicious activity, 1 is down. We had one trespass and one disturbance, so, on to July. I'll get that next month.
Thank you, sir. Ms. Brenda?
First thing we have is the trash ordinance. So the council is establishing a fee for it, and it will be added to the wastewater bill. So I don't know if you wanna explain the process that we have to take, once they do the first reading tonight.
So after tonight, you would just approve this as a first reading, then the next meeting, it would be set for a public hearing, and then people would have an opportunity to comment or really just comment. Usually, people ask questions, but public comment, the council doesn't have to entertain or answer questions. If you don't want to, of course, that's up to your discretion, how much you're answering versus just listening to comment. But then it would be up for formal approval at the next meeting.
And so the ordinance is going to basically charge each resident the same thing the town is charged, which is $9 per month for the trash pickup. And that offsets a cost because of basically we're the only community, to my knowledge, left that does what people call free trash. And knowing our budget most likely will be cut next year because of the property tax bill, we're ready for that. And our goal here, and Keely helped us do this with the strategic plan, is one key thing that we want to do by the end of our tenure is have a sustainable budget. This is definitely a step in that right direction to establishing a more sustainable budget. So it does put a little more burden on our residents, but it's what we feel is the best for the town to continue to offer services, police officers, and all the things that people desire. So.
And one thing that'd be additional is because it's gonna have to be in a closed container now instead of just bags, so.
Yeah, and that's a good point, so everybody hears that and sees that. So there will be a requirement, it is written into the ordinance, have to be in lidded containers. So we don't have trash that can be picked up by critters and dogs and things like that, so we get that covered. Keeps the town clean. So what, first reading on that motion? You know, cheat sheet,
Yeah.
you're so good at that.
Do we have an ordinance number?
I wrote it at the top of your paper. It's 2025-7-8.
I make a motion to approve ordinance number 2025-7-8 on the first reading.
I second it.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye, none opposed. Motion carries.
That's it for
That's
the
it for
minute.
the Okay.
Thank you.
Yes, you're right.
Yep.
Okay.
Okay, and Project Wrap down there at the Borden Business Park, we have not heard anything from them on the business, moving in. Town signage, we had already gotten approved to get the signs for out here. Joey's working on those, they should be done this week. And then, the no parking sign on Haywood to put on the new, gates that the town, or that the Friends of the Park are purchasing and was approved at their meeting last night to get those, and then those signs will be attached to it, so nobody's parking in the little cubby holes over there.
And the other part of that, we don't want them barking along the road either.
Yeah, yeah.
So if that's extra signage or whatever we have to do, just putting them on the gates doesn't suffice what we planned, I don't believe.
Okay, so what would you guys like additional
Thought we were putting signs that say no parking along.
along the
Haywood.
street?
So not just in front of the gate openings, but along that
Yeah,
road.
along the entire,
Well,
Brian?
I mean, it's just a suggestion to put the no parking signs along the road and put a sign on the gate that says do not block the gate, which would also mean not to park there.
Yeah.
and just brainstorming, could we not put the no parking signs that were gonna go on your chain at the corner of the, so it's on the road, but it's also beside the,
Yeah.
Cause that's spread apart pretty good, so.
Yeah, we just want them to know there's no parking along through there, cause it, again, becomes a turf management issue, and some of that drops off too. So,
See what I'm saying, you'd have
Yeah.
your entrance here and you could just put it right there at those.
At each entrance, yeah.
To me, it's no parking on the street or if you do it
Right.
like that.
so based on your recommendation as a police chief and the sign maker.
I would think you'd be fine, just not put them on the chain,
And just put them on the road,
Yeah.
both of them.
the road
One on each
facing,
side.
yep, and then right at those entrances that you guys are having issues with.
Well, and see, we already have the Haywood, speed limit signs in there that I ordered and they're still sitting in there, so
Okay,
we can attach those to that sign,
Yeah, you could have both of them on one.
yeah.
yep, good point. Our first sign on Main Street coming off on East Main is barely hanging on, the speed limit sign. So whoever's doing signs, it'd be great if they go shore that one up or make sure it's
It'd be,
reset.
Which one?
It's sitting by the first telephone pole when you come off, you're coming this way and you turn on East Main.
Uh-huh,
There's a 20 mile per hour speed limit, it's doing
Oh,
this.
doing a hay,
Chris can fix that, usually if I spot something like that, usually Chris will take care of it.
Okay.
you gonna talk to him then? Or you want me to talk to him? I'll talk to him.
I can talk to
You're
him
going
tonight
vacation.
while I leave.
And then also, the signs, oh, we talked about, okay, so at the entry signs of each side of town, with the, with the Lady Braves winning and everything, we wanted to add additional sign, but it would be cheaper for us to add one great big sign that says, "Welcome to Borden," with all of our state championships on that. And so we can work on a design for that, but I talked to our sign guy and got an estimate, for $825, but that's overshooting it. That's both of them together,
Not to exceed.
yeah, not to exceed, 825. And then what we can do with the signs that are standing there right now is have them auctioned off. Is, we can maybe recoup some of our funding that way.
You need a motion?
Yes, we need a motion to,
I'll
approve
make
the
a
welcome
motion
sign.
to do the signs not to exceed $825
$25.
for each of the town.
I second it.
All in favor, say aye.
Alright.
None opposed, motion carries.
Okay. Old State Bank, I don't know if you wanna talk to the engineer that we got it adjusted, or,
Sure, I can do that. So, this new proposal for the state bank design, is the exact same scope as it was last month that was approved. After a conversation between Brenna and Mike Harris, Prime has agreed to sponsor the project by donating $5,000 toward the fee. So, the only thing that has changed on this scope is the cost. Originally, it was $42,050 and is now $37,050 after the $5,000 donation.
yeah, so we just need you guys to approve, I guess, the amended,
Okay, I'll make
Price.
a motion to approve the amended price for the engineering of the project, bank building.
I second it.
All in favor, say aye.
No.
Aye. None opposed, motion carries. When do they believe they're gonna engage this?
yeah, so when do we wanna start?
I think
Tomorrow?
they're ready to start. They'd probably be down here by next week is what I heard today. So as soon as we can get this executed, they'll be
Okay.
going.
Will be executed tonight?
Okay, so who will be contacting me? Will they be contacting me on
It'll probably be Mike
the day?
Murphy again.
Okay,
And we may send someone local to do the measurements, but he's
Okay.
gonna be the one organizing it.
okay, perfect. Sensory walk, Brian's already hit that, we got the instruments coming in tomorrow, and then we'll be working with the park board to get that all established, and set in stone. Sam Tech funding and here for the I can't think of the word.
Remodel?
Yeah,
Renovation?
renovation, I can't think tonight. Renovation, we should know sometime in August whether we're getting that funding. Ready 1.0 funding. So what we landed at last week was, in a meeting that we had last week or the week before,
that, we would be getting the estimates for what the design was for the restrooms. And they're going to try and fight for us with the RDA to get that, get us the rest of the funding. We have approximately 230,000. This estimate came in at 205,000. So hopefully they'll let us go ahead and move forward, but they've got all their procurement information, the contract information and everything for JLM and everything. So they have all the information they requested. So
So
we're just
that's
waiting for them.
Plan us a restroom in there and doing some paving.
And doing some paving up to the road, or the road around up to the amphitheater.
And there was an additional 33,000 for some other paving or?
Yeah, for some parking spots, the handicap parking spots right there. Yeah. So we're just waiting to hear back with them, and I know Corey is no longer with them, but he's helping them transition, so I haven't heard back from Andrea, but I'll reach back out to Andrea tomorrow, cause I haven't gotten, hey, we received all this information, so. Rural placemaking studio, just waiting to review all the designs, and, I've been working with Brian and a couple other people from the Historical Society on that. Telephone number, Faith, if you wanna explain that?
I would like to have our old 967 telephone number turned off. We have, at the beginning of the year, we had moved to a new telephone system, which came with a new telephone number. And, it has now been 6 months. That number is not used on a very regular basis anymore, so I feel like it is safe to turn the telephone off, that number.
Motion to shut her down.
Do we?
What we said, we go ahead and make it official.
Okay. Make a motion that we turn off the old 967 phone number to the home.
I second it.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
None opposed, motion carries unanimously.
Okay, South Monon Trail, the trailhead out here, I guess you guys can see we've already started with, well, that's a different project. They've landed some stuff out here, they're gonna be working over, and creating that whole design. And I did reach out to David, we do have the specs on all that design, you guys have reviewed that, or looked at it, hopefully in your email, and then,
A lot of concrete.
yeah, a lot of concrete. So I did reach back out to him today because there is some flat spots over here next to where the trailhead's going, to see if maybe they could add a couple, parking spaces there. So we'll be reaching or keeping contact with them. And then also you will see that they've been tearing up over here for our parking spots, to expand the parking lot. So he said that they will wait to do all of our paving out here until all the concrete trucks have built that over there, because we don't want them riding on our good pavement.
On the Monon Trail, has there been any talk of the upkeep of the trail?
No, I am sending out an email, I have not had a chance to, and at least with Joey and I, to discuss that with them, because
'Cause here
how can
we're
we
writing-
enforce
we're
our
writing
ordinances?
Violations for neighbors, and the trail's worse than some of the ordinance violations we're writing, so.
Yeah. So,
And it's their easement, so.
Yeah.
Like the county issue we had this week. we talked
Yep.
about.
Yep.
and he called today.
He called
I'm
today.
gonna tell you.
You know, you know, one thing on that, I don't know how we did or how the town paid for it, but for years Ernie sprayed it. For years. He kept all the grass down. I don't know, you maybe
Well, I
have
know
some history.
Todd's been out there spraying on the tractor, some spots, but some spots are dying and some aren't. So I don't know if he know,
Well, I think
Mix
we,
it right, or.
Yeah.
I think we have to have a
What's our
couple of-
liability, what's our responsibility?
well, I mean, it's their responsibility, it's their easement.
I mean.
Right.
That's what we gotta figure out, because it's all about money. Should our taxpayers of our town be paying for this or not? That's what I wanna know.
No. Well, he doesn't respond to me sometimes, as well as you know, so.
Because, it takes money to buy chemicals, we're gonna have to get people certified to use these chemicals, because we don't have anybody. We're gonna have to buy them, we're gonna have to pay the labor to do it. It's just a lot more to it than just going out and spraying some weeds.
Right. I agree.
Because this is a very public thing. We go out and do some spraying and an animal gets sick and somebody's gonna say, what's your all's fault? you know, what we do.
Yeah, so if we've been spraying, we've probably been doing things we probably shouldn't so far without a comprehensive plan
Yeah,
of what is our responsibility.
Right.
So,
yeah.
I think that,
I'll be sending out an email and copy an email.
I just wonder what other towns are doing.
You don't,
What's Orleans doing?
you don't need your applicator does not need a spraying license, but you have to have somebody associated, you have to have a contact number of a licensed
Okay.
sprayer within a phone, you know, that's available.
Okay.
So, and they're the ones that sign off on what you're spraying.
Okay.
So,
Now, this is the kind of stuff we need to find out, you know, if we have to maintain it. But I wanna find out if we're supposed to be maintaining it first.
the answer we always got when we asked that question early on, before they even did anything to the trail, was they were relying on partnerships with the communities and also a benevolence group that would help maintain that. That was the governmental answer we received.
Yeah. And I know they've said that it's take $250,000 a year just to maintain the, you know, weeds along the trail, so.
How'd they get that estimate?
I don't know, that's what Clark Deed said, giving them.
That's why.
No. So, but I will let you know when we get a response.
Can we find out what Orleans is doing, or what Mitchell's doing?
Yeah, I can contact them, I have contacts.
Can you contact the Beacon trustee and see what Beacon's doing?
Sure, let me get her on the phone.
Well, I just know they're done out there, and they're,
she's already,
you know, somebody's gotta be doing something.
You know, and if you walk along, of course, we've been getting a lot of walks along there lately. Some residents are taking care of it,
Some are, I've seen them do it.
Mhm.
and some are spraying it, and you see the
Some
dead
aren't.
grass, but most of them aren't. So, I think it's something that we wanna figure out, what is our burden, and what is the burden ultimately, as Rudy says, on the taxpayer for this in the town, so.
Okay, then Joey's already mentioned the COPS grant, so we should be on that.
there that I didn't cover.
Nope, you covered it all,
All right.
except for, we did apply for, 45, the initial would be 45 to 50, I think we did 50,000 for the full-time officer. Then the last thing is, we do have our YouTube channel. We are live right now on, YouTube, so we are in compliance with all that. And we'll be adding all the agendas and everything up there.
All right.
I got one more thing I'd like to bring up, and I should have brought it up under cemetery, but, it slipped my mind. There's an issue with tree limbs hanging down over there on the roadway, really low. And I would like for us to get an estimate from a regular tree trim company to come in and root, not just the little tiny limbs, the big limbs on the tree, grind them up. If we could do that, maybe M&G Tree Service, or local here, Borden.
Well, I've gotta meet with Noah Cutter
Okay, we'll get, see if he's interested in.
for the tree placement, to get a recommendation for the tree placement to go along with the park, and then I made contact with him. He's supposed to get with me next week, he's gonna be working around town. And I wanna show him our grove of trees back there, and see what he thinks he can do with those, and get some recommendations and costing from him, so I can ask him about that as well.
Does he do tree cutting and
He
grinding?
does, he does. That's the main thing he does.
Okay.
But if not, I know Dave Sheldon too.
Yeah, either
We can
one.
give him, yeah, somebody local, for
Sure.
sure.
So you're gonna take that?
Yeah, I'm
Okay.
meeting with Noah next week, I'll do both. Like that sycamores and stuff are really hanging over there.
Yeah, instead of, like I say, just instead of cutting the limbs aside your thumb, go back to the tree, if that's a big one. That would remove all of them and be done with it for a while.
So we don't do it every year.
Yeah.
Got it. Good point. Anything else for the good of the order? Oh, Brian?
So, something you mentioned to me last night about the new business down here in the old house, Woodcraft, I don't know what he's calling that, something imports, whatever. car
It's an
parts.
eBay Motors Corporation, yeah.
Okay, so I stopped by there on the way home and checked the place out. He was there, so I took a little tour with him. He has really cleaned that building up from what it was when Al had it,
Okay.
or when Jeff had it.
Yeah.
He's painted, sealed the whole inside, there's no dust hanging on everything in there anymore. But, it's mostly car parts in racks in there, there's no drums of any flammable liquids or anything like that. Now, there are a couple batteries on the rack in there, but they are completely discharged. And, I didn't see any issue with a hazard, you know, being in that, on that property. So,
Okay,
Yeah, it's good to know.
you jumped on that, yeah. I guess if there was ever a general fire, it would still be an issue.
yeah,
But
it's just,
it's good to
I mean, almost everything in there is metal. So it's, I didn't see anything.
I'm
that was
always in
really-
the process of a zoning change, so we can put some fencing up to,
Yeah. Okay.
I've not met him, I know you guys have engaged, seem like he's working with us, not against us, so.
Correct.
That's good.
Good kid.
Joey, you have something?
No, I just agreed with you that he's had a pretty good impression so far.
if nobody have anything, I'll make a motion to adjourn.
I'll second.
All in favor, say aye. None opposed, motion carries, we will adjourn this meeting about 7:08. Thank you, Nick, for
Good day, that'd be best.
AV services.